Jerusalem, the holy city of the Jewish people, once a symbol of strength and pride. But on one dark night in history, the cries, the sounds of broken gates, and the smell of burning fires cast a shadow over it. So, how did the destruction of Jerusalem begin? Let's explore why King Nebuchadnezzar decided to destroy this city. With his mighty army, Nebuchadnezzar II did not hesitate to launch the attack. Not only to expand his empire, but also to assert his dominance. The city was surrounded by a sea of fire. Great structures were destroyed, and thousands of innocent citizens were caught in an unforgettable tragedy. But what led to Jerusalem facing such destruction? Let's find out together. We need to go back to the 6th century BC, a time of one of the greatest conflicts in ancient history. Jerusalem, with all its sacredness and prosperity, was the heart of the kingdom of Judah. But the rise of Nebuchadnezzar II, the mighty king of Babylon, marked a turning point. This king was not only famous for his military strength, but also for his ambition to conquer the entire Middle Eastern lands. With a powerful army and strategic brilliance, he relentlessly expanded his empire. The Babylonian forces were not only strong but also disciplined, creating an unstoppable force. As Nebuchadnezzar set his sights on Jerusalem, he saw a grand target, not just militarily but ideologically. This battle was not just a physical fight, but a struggle for power, for the survival of a nation. Jerusalem, though seemingly strong, now faced a monumental challenge against the rising wave from Babylon. Will Jerusalem stand strong, or will it succumb to the might of Babylon? In 597 BC, the relationship between Babylon and Jerusalem had become tense. King Jehoiakim of Judah, threatened by the growing power of Babylon, was forced to surrender to Nebuchadnezzar, accepting tribute. But soon after, Jehoiakim died, and his son, Jehoiachin, succeeded him. This young king could not maintain loyalty to Babylon, and the uprising of Jerusalem began from here. Nebuchadnezzar was not one to easily forgive betrayal. In 586 BC, he decided it was time to end this threat once and for all. With a mighty army, Nebuchadnezzar marched toward Jerusalem, isolating the city. As the people of Jerusalem trembled in fear, they also prepared for the final battle of survival. The city was filled with whispers and urgent preparations, knowing their fate would be decided in the coming battle. The people of the city hurriedly prepared, stockpiling food, weapons, and essential supplies. The Babylonian soldiers prepared for battle, their weapons glinting in the flickering light. The commanders within the city strategized their defense, knowing this would be the decisive battle. The sturdy city walls stood strong, yet could not withstand the wrath of the enormous army. The people prayed in hope, seeking divine intervention from God. The Babylonian army began their assault, firing arrows and using weapons to break through the city's defenses. Flames erupted, the red light reflecting off the city walls, signaling the start of the battle. Nebuchadnezzar ordered a full-scale attack, leaving no room for negotiation. The Jerusalem forces, though exhausted, fought to maintain their defense lines. People began to flee, seeking refuge, hoping for survival. The Babylonian soldiers attacked fiercely, destroying the last remaining walls of Jerusalem. The entire city of Jerusalem was aflame, a chaotic scene as fire spread everywhere. Desperation spread as all hope seemed to vanish under the shadow of war. In the darkness of night, Jerusalem began to fall into ruins, with cries echoing from within the city. Nebuchadnezzar spared no one, commanding his army to attack everyone in their path. No matter what, the people of Jerusalem could not escape this fate. At last, the walls of Jerusalem fell, and this great city was utterly defeated. The sun sets over Jerusalem, signaling the dark times that are approaching. The Babylonian soldiers are preparing for the decisive attack. The walls of Jerusalem begin to tremble, signaling the impending collapse. The Jerusalem warriors fought to the last, but they could not stop the might of Babylon. The walls of Jerusalem are shattered, and the Babylonian army floods into the city. The streets of Jerusalem are engulfed in flames and destruction. The people of Jerusalem flee in panic, but they cannot escape the pursuit. The palaces and homes of Jerusalem are burned, leaving nothing intact. Solomon's temple, The heart of Jerusalem is consumed by flames. Innocent people are slaughtered, and Jerusalem sinks into chaos. The survivors are taken as slaves, dragged away from the city. The Babylonians celebrate their victory, but no one can hide the cruelty in their eyes. The sky over Jerusalem darkens as a sign of complete destruction. The fires still rage, and the city of Jerusalem is no longer a place of life. The Babylonian soldiers stand atop the ruins, gazing at the lost city. The people of Jerusalem weep for what has been lost, for the children who are no more. Solomon's temple is now nothing but ashes, a relic of a once great past. The dark sky covers Jerusalem as if the heavens themselves mourn this downfall. The people of Jerusalem are exiled, walking in silence, their minds filled with hopelessness. The Babylonian soldiers leave Jerusalem, leaving the city in irreparable ruin. Jerusalem, once a great center, now lay in ruins. The Babylonian soldiers stand silently watching the destroyed city from afar, victorious but not joyful. Even the Babylonian soldiers bow their heads before this downfall. Nothing remains but ashes, a city once glorious now reduced to a memory. The sky begins to brighten, but no one is left to witness the rebirth of the city. From afar, a lone figure stands looking at Jerusalem, with only the memory of a great city left. With the city of Jerusalem under siege, Nebuchadnezzar ordered his army to continue destroying and erasing all traces of Jerusalem. Thousands of Jerusalem's people were killed or taken as prisoners. The survivors, mostly the poor and the weak, were exiled to Babylon. All hope, faith, and the heritage of the Jewish people seemed shattered. Solomon's temple, one of the greatest monuments of the ancient world, was completely destroyed. What remained was only rubble and ash. This was not just a material loss, but a spiritual loss for the entire Jewish nation. Families lost their homes, feeling abandoned in the dark night of despair. The exiled Jews stepped into a completely unfamiliar world, not knowing what their future held. Even in despair, they did not abandon their faith in God, hoping for the day of return. The destruction of Jerusalem marked the end of an era, but also the beginning of a new chapter. As Jerusalem was captured, all symbols of greatness and prosperity were destroyed. It was not just the great structures, but the faith and soul of the Jewish people that were shattered. Though their losses were immense, they held on to the belief that one day they would return and rebuild their homeland. In the ruins, rays of hope began to shine. They found strength in each other, united in their pain and hope. Babylon's dominance remained, but the minds of the Jews were never fully subdued. Even in victory, Babylon sensed the instability, knowing that one day restoration would come. Though exiled, they still held on to the belief that one day freedom would return. Some began to rebuild their lives in Babylon, but they always carried the memory of Jerusalem within them. No matter where they were, they continued to uphold their faith, learning from the teachings of their ancestors. They prayed, hoping for the day of return, for a miracle to come. Even though they were under occupation, the resilience of the Jews made even their enemies ponder. Though everything was destroyed, small hope still survived in each of them. Though the temple was destroyed, the faith of the Jews was not shattered. They recalled the ancient prayers, believing that one day God would restore Jerusalem to them. The conquest of Jerusalem was a shock, not only for the city but for all of the land of Israel. But it was precisely in this destruction that a new chapter was written in the history of the Jewish people. Though exiled, the Jewish people never lost their faith in God. Life in Babylon, though harsh, laid the foundation for future changes, including the rebuilding of the temple and the revival of Jerusalem. Nebuchadnezzar, though successful in destroyed their faith. A faith that history would later prove true. Though Jerusalem lay in ruins, the faith its people remained strong. It became a living proof of the revival of this city, and Jerusalem will be strong again, as it once was. From the ruins of collapse, a wonderful revival has blossomed. The lesson is, even in the darkest of times, faith and hope will guide us. Let us allow that faith to guide our lives. That is what the destruction of Babylon could not destroy. They rebuilt this holy place, not just with bricks, but with faith. They have returned, and Jerusalem has revived. Life goes on, and Jerusalem lives on in the hearts of every Jew. Though Jerusalem was destroyed, the Jewish people continue to shine everywhere. Their faith and resilience will continue to sustain the existence of this people. The rebirth of Jerusalem is a great story of spiritual strength, and the Jewish people continue to pray, holding fast to their faith in a brighter future. The revival of Jerusalem is proof of the unwavering strength of faith. From the ruins of collapse, the Jewish people rose, carrying the light of faith. Though tested, Jerusalem has stood strong and is a beacon of hope for all the Jewish people. Jerusalem is not just a city, it is the heart of a people. So, what do you think about Nebuchadnezzar's destruction of Jerusalem? Do you think this was just a military event? Or did it bring lasting changes for the Jewish people in the world? Share your thoughts in the comments section below this video. And don't forget to hit like and subscribe to our channel so you won't miss our next video, where we will explore the Babylonian exile and its long-lasting consequences for centuries. Thank you for watching.